Welcome back on a big night here on MSNBC. If any president spent the general election trying to close down polling locations or defund machines that count ballots, it would be a giant scandal. Abusing government power to thwart an election is the most fundamental abuse of power in a democracy because it can end a democracy. In an election where the winner this year could be decided by mail-in ballots, that is part of what the president appears to be doing, because the post office is now, of course, a main instrument of processing ballots, which is why Speaker Pelosi is literally calling the House back on this issue and to hold this emergency hearing. It's why there are calls to investigate the man Trump installed as postmaster general and to look into whether he's already executing Trump's desire to effect mail-in balloting, while Senate Democrats are pressing for a reversal of these mail policy changes. And real people, as we've been reporting, are taking the pressure to the home of the postmaster general himself today. Now, some of these efforts are already working. Pressure can work, as Donald Trump knows. Protests can work, as America has been seeing this year. Pelosi calling Congress back puts Americans on notice right now, this week, that she views this as an emergency, even in, yes, a year of emergencies. Now, some of these measures wouldn't happen by November. The Senate Democrats' bill is basically dead in the GOP-controlled Senate. But is there a larger legal challenge here? How can it be up to only protesters or the opposition party to guard democracy alone? Well, tonight we can report for you that attorneys general in 6 different states are exploring the best way to stop Trump in court with possible suits. One of them speaking out on that strategy today.
Well, Chuck, what we're doing is gathering evidence right now. We're looking at how it's worked in the past. We're examining the timelines that things have taken. And we're looking at what the postal regulations and statutes require.
I'm joined now by the former acting Solicitor General of the United States under the Obama administration, Neil Katyal. Good evening, Neil.
Good evening. I love the glasses.
Well, you know, sometimes they come out, although I'm mostly a contacts person. I love your glasses. Here we are on a big political night, and viewers understand soon we're going to have all that pageantry, our full MSNBC coverage, and normally we'd be talking politics and a little less likely to book former solicitors general. You're here because this is now as much of a legal story. Is what Donald Trump says out loud that he wants to do to the post office constitutional? And if not, what do you do?
It's obviously illegal, Ari, and it's obviously un-American, and it's obviously incompetent. I mean, we've had mail delivered for 200 years, and this guy comes along and can't even do that. And it would be suspicious anyway, any mail slowdown, because after all, in December, we always have mail surges over Christmas and the Postal Service sending billions of pieces of mail. And now all of a sudden, magically before an election, they can't do their job. And, you know, it's not just about the election, of course, it's about people getting medicine and business records being transmitted across the mail, all sorts of things. So the basic deal is there's a federal statute and there's state statutes, which both make what the president's doing illegal. The federal one is 18 U.S.C. 1703, and it says whoever, being a Postal Service officer or employee, unlawfully detains or delays any letter or postcard shall be imprisoned for up to 5 years. Now, and sometimes you might think, well, the president, you know, if there's mail is slowed down, it may be for other reasons or so on. But here, and you know, I've said this before, Donald Trump is the best co-counsel an opponent can ever have. He admits the game. Here he did that. He said the reason why he's worried about this is because of mail-in balloting, and that's why the slowdown's occurring. And, you know, that's just admitting basically a federal felony.
Now, we'll put that up on the screen here as we go full legal, the delay or destruction of mail. When you cite that, who would that potentially apply to? Who does that work against?
Well, it works against the statute's very broad. It says any postal office employee who's involved in this scheme. And, you know, this is a circumstance in which the president has himself kind of effectively given up the motivation. And so I think it really puts the Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy, in a tough position. He's, after all, going to have to testify next week. And now he's testifying in a circumstance in which his own criminal liability, and perhaps those of his subordinates, is on the line. That is an ugly place to be. And while DeJoy may feel some security with Barr as the Attorney General, Barr may not be the attorney general forever. And as I said before, there are state attorneys general, each of whom are investigating their own counterpart state crimes here, which may be at play, because there is nothing more un-American than messing with an election. And if you're messing with the mail to do that, absolutely, it's a state crime and it's a federal crime.
What can Congress do, in your view, to make that pressure real on this individual who may, like many in the Trump era, ultimately be forced to make choices, as Comey, McCabe, and others testified they were asked to, between their constitutional obligations and what Trump wants?
Well, I'm very pleased to see that Congress has been called back into emergency session over this, and DeJoy is going to have to testify, and he's going to testify with the threat of criminal sanctions hanging over him. So it may be a circumstance where DeJoy finally does the right thing and comes clean before Congress. Now, if he doesn't, Congress still has tools available to it. They can use the subpoena power to drag people through and even perhaps jail people in the Postal Service if they try and refuse and don't give up documents and the like. But they also have the budgetary powers. They can defund various aspects of the Trump administration in retaliation for what they want to do. And states, of course, in addition to filing lawsuits, can pass laws that say, for example, your ballot's going to count as long as it's postmarked on election day. Even if it comes 2 weeks later, your ballot's going to count. So there's a lot of stuff we can do to deal with this. And we got to start now.
Well, Neil, you just laid something out that's so important. Again, as I've mentioned, we're on a political night, but you just talked about something that could literally swing the outcome, which is whether ballots are counted because they were postmarked in time, or there are, to use a legal term, shenanigans, and the margin of the victory of whoever's side could literally hang on that. So that's why I think it seems like our political nights are going to be legal nights in this environment with this president proposing the things he is. Neil Katyal, we always benefit from your real-time law school. And I'm going to remind people they can go to msnbc.com/opening arguments, where we'll have this and other recent segments that are your guide to so much of what's going on. My thanks to Neil Katyal. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.